They won't report it properly. Shall I read you the statement? Donald J. Trump is calling for, now listen, you got to listen to this one because this is pretty heavy stuff, and it's common sense, and we have to do it. Remember the poll numbers, 25%, 51%. Remember the poll numbers. Okay, so remember this. So listen. Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. We have no choice. We have no choice. We have no choice.
That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of
yes, and that's the second explosion. You could see the plane.
Jim Friedel in Hoboken said it appeared to bank sharply and smash directly, perhaps purposefully, into, oh my goodness.
Oh God.
There's another one. Oh my goodness, there's another one.
This seems to be on purpose.
Oh my goodness,
Another plane?
Now it's obvious, I think, that there's a second plane just crashed into the World Trade Center. I think we have a terrorist act.
Americans have many questions tonight. Americans are asking, who attacked our country? The evidence we have gathered all points to a collection of loosely affiliated terrorist organizations known as Al-Qaeda. They are some of the murderers indicted for bombing American embassies in Tanzania and Kenya and responsible for bombing the USS Cole. Al-Qaeda is to terror what the mafia is to crime, but its goal is not making money. Its goal is remaking the world and imposing its radical beliefs on people everywhere. The terrorists practice a fringe form of Islamic extremism that has been rejected by Muslim scholars and the vast majority of Muslim clerics, a fringe movement that perverts the peaceful teaching of Islam. The terrorist directive commands them to kill Christians and Jews, to kill all Americans, and make no distinctions among military and civilians, including women and children.
Mr. President, as a Gold Star mother, my son gave his life for acts of terrorism. Do you still believe that the acts of terrorism are done with a self-proclaimed Islamic religious motives? And if you do, why do you still refuse to use the term Islamic terrorist?
The truth of the matter is that this is an issue that has been sort of manufactured, because there is no doubt, and I've said repeatedly, that where we see terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda or ISIL, they have perverted and distorted and tried to claim the mantle of Islam for an excuse for basically barbarism and death. These are people who kill children, kill Muslims, but what I have been careful about when I describe these issues is to make sure that we do not lump these murderers into the billion Muslims that exist around the world, including in this country, who are peaceful, who are responsible, who in this country are our fellow troops and police officers and firefighters and teachers and neighbors and friends. And what I learned from listening to some of these Muslim families, both in the United States and overseas, is that when you start calling these organizations Islamic terrorists, the way it's heard, the way it's received by our friends and allies around the world is that somehow Islam is terroristic. And that then makes them feel as if they're under attack.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. Large segments of the Muslim population. Most recently, a poll from Center for Security Policy released data showing 25% of those polled agreed that violence against Americans, these are people that are here, by the way, people here, 25, not 1%. By the way, 1% would be unacceptable. 1% is unacceptable. 25% of those polled agreed that violence against Americans here in the United States is justified as part, think of that, as part of the global jihad. They want to change your religion. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Not going to happen. As part of the global jihad, and 51% of those polled agreed that Muslims in America should have the choice of being governed according to Sharia. You know what Sharia is? 51%. Sharia authorizes, and look, this is, it's terrible. Sharia authorizes such atrocities as murder against non-believers who won't convert, beheadings, and more unthinkable acts that pose great harm to Americans, especially women. You look, especially women. Tough stuff.
I am Muslim, but I'm not angry.
I'm Muslim, but I'm not forced to wear a headscarf.
I'm Muslim, but I don't wear the hijab.
I'm Muslim, but I'm not dangerous unless we're on the dance floor.
I'm Muslim, but I don't care if you're Shia or Sunni or Sufi. Embrace them all.
I'm Muslim, but I'm not a terrorist.
But I'm not a terrorist.
But I'm not a terrorist.
But I'm not stopped at airports because my name is Tom and I'm white.
I'm Muslim, but I'm not Arab.
I am Muslim, but I love Jews.
I'm Muslim, but I'm not an immigrant.
I'm Muslim, but I'm not homophobic.
But I'm not prejudiced towards others.
But I don't hate America.
I'm Muslim, but I'm not easily offended.
I'm Muslim, but I don't look like one.
I am Muslim, but I had bacon one time on accident. It was good.
I'm Muslim, but I don't scream Allahu Akbar randomly out loud.
I am Muslim, but I wasn't the one who told kids that there was no Santa.
I'm Muslim, but you can be whatever you want to be.
After Canada's Prime Minister pressured Fox News to right a wrong, the news organization finally decided to delete a tweet where it falsely claimed that the suspect in the Quebec shooting was a Muslim individual from Morocco.
Now, a tweet's only 140 characters, but once you put it out there that it's that, what does it do? And I went all over the internet. I saw it live as it was happening. Like, we know it. Oh, you think it's just, right-wingers against Muslims? No, it was a Muslim anyway. Ha ha! It was a Muslim, right? Now, it turns out he was, a witness and he was trying to help the victims.
Yeah.
But by the way, to this day, if you go and ask a right-winger, since they don't care about reality, I guarantee you at least half of them will say, oh, no, the shooter was a Muslim. They'll say, I guarantee you if you poll them, they'll say that.
Let's go to graphic 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to show you how much of a Muslim the shooter was. Oh, there he is. Okay, yeah, he looks super Muslim to me.
Yeah, there are white Muslims, but many throughout
their last
the world.
names are not Bissonnette, and also
sometimes, but
really,
it's in his case, no.
Yeah, he is described as a pro-Donald Trump, anti-immigration individual who's also sympathetic to the far right. Okay, and by the way, that's not to say like, oh, all Trump supporters are going to go off and shoot people up in a mosque. But it is important to note, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter what someone's political affiliation is. If they are extremists, they're extremists. And in this case, this guy was an extremist.
We are Muslim. I'm so glad we are Muslim, but all Muslim is not very bad, you know. All Christian is not bad, but people also, all people, they are like fingers. The fingers is not same. Some people is good, some people is bad.